What would you do if a total stranger started using your private pool like it was a public resort? What if that same person became vice president of your HOA and began targeting you for refusing to share? How do you fight back against someone who thinks rules don't apply to them, especially when they make the rules? And what happens when a retired black cop says, enough? Stick around, because this isn't just a story about trespassing. It's a story about karma, community, and the flamingo float that broke the Karen's crown. You know what they don't tell you about retirement? It's not the quiet mornings or the backyard grilling you have to worry about. It's entitled Neighbors Who Think Your Piece is a Public Service. I served 22 years in law enforcement, wore the badge with pride. I faced gang threats, domestic standoffs, even a cartel sting in Phoenix. But nothing prepared me for the battlefield that was my own backyard pool. It started like this. I'm sitting on my patio, coffee in hand, watching the sun paint my pool gold, when I hear the splash. A stranger, blonde bob, sunglasses like she's incognito, sipping from a thermos and floating on my pool float. "Excuse me?" I called out, more out of disbelief than anger. She turned, annoyed. Oh, I assumed it was part of the community amenities. Except it wasn't. This is my private property. And that moment, that was just the beginning. Because Karen, and yes, her name actually is Karen, wasn't trespassing by accident. She was testing boundaries, and when she didn't like being told no, she brought her entire HOA mafia with her. They picked the wrong veteran to mess with. Stick around, because by the end of this story, Karen will be banned from the entire neighborhood, and me. I'll be floating in my pool again, coffee in hand, smiling at the security cam. Let me take you back to how it all unraveled. I moved into Oak Ridge Estates a year after retirement. Quiet cul-de-sac, no crime, dog walkers waving every morning. It was a well-earned slice of peace. The house came with a generous backyard and a custom pool I designed myself. Solar heating, waterfall feature, underwater lights, the works. It was my sanctuary. Then came Karen, moved in 2 houses down. She seemed pleasant at first. A real estate agent, single mom, SUV with bumper stickers about manifesting positive vibes. It started with small talk, then odd questions. "So, is your pool accessible from the back gate?" she asked one afternoon, fake casual. I smiled. "It's locked. Private property." 2 days later, I found her in it. "Karen, you can't just jump in someone else's pool," I told her. She rolled her eyes. "It's not that serious. We're neighbors. Besides, this community doesn't even have a shared pool." I figured you wouldn't mind. I minded. I installed a camera, locked the gates tighter, even posted a small sign, "Private pool, no trespassing." Karen was unimpressed. The next week, I got a letter from the HOA. "Your sign violates aesthetic guidelines. Please remove it within 48 hours. I attended the HOA meeting. Guess who was vice president? Yep, Karen. I tried to speak. Got cut off. "Let's not make this personal," she smirked. It became personal. The next morning, I found a passive-aggressive note on my door. "Maybe if you shared, you wouldn't need so many locks." Oh, this wasn't over. That was just the beginning. After I refused to remove my sign, things got weird. Not loud, not obvious. Weird. Like something out of a suburban horror flick. First, the gate lock was mysteriously jammed. Not broken, just filled with a sticky gunk like glue or syrup. Had to replace the whole thing. Then the pool itself. One morning I walk out and there are leaves everywhere. Odd, since I have a leaf net and no overhead trees. Upon closer look, not leaves, shreds of lettuce, as in salad. It was like a toddler's attempt at sabotage. But I knew exactly who it was. I confronted her. "If you want a salad, use a bowl, not my pool." She laughed. "You're being paranoid." Maybe the wind blew it in. The wind, Karen? A week later, I got slapped with another HOA violation, unapproved security camera placement. Apparently my cam was too visible and made neighbors feel watched. Again, Karen. I went to the next HOA meeting with receipts, photos, timestamps, the full deal. I even played footage of her slipping through my side gate with a floaty in hand. They called it inconclusive. One board member chuckled. Could have been anyone. Really? A 5'6" blonde with a pineapple pool float isn't just anyone. I realized then, Karen wasn't just entitled. She was strategic. She knew the system because she was the system. She wanted to wear me down. But instead of breaking, I documented everything. Every fine, every letter, every unwanted pool noodle mysteriously appearing. Then came the fireworks, literally. 4th of July weekend, I went out of town for 2 days. Came back to ash in my pool. Turns out Karen hosted a neighborhood celebration. Guess where the kids swam? Guess where the hot dogs got rinsed off? Yep, my pool. Again. I checked the footage. My gate, open, my float, slashed. My dog. Terrified. That was the last straw. I filed a police report for trespassing, vandalism, and harassment. The HOA brushed it off as a misunderstanding among neighbors. Karen even posted on the Nextdoor app. Some people just can't handle community spirit. Oh, I handled it, all right. But not with rage. With patience and a plan. Because while Karen was busy rallying her squad, I was busy gathering mine. And I had friends in places she didn't expect. It was time to fight back. Not with force, but with finesse. Because justice looks real good under patio lights. My first move? Reach out to my old academy buddy, Marcus. He's now head of private security for the county's largest HOA legal consultancy. So let me get this straight, Marcus said over lunch. You've got footage, documents, and a trail of HOA abuse, led by a woman named Karen? Yep. You want the full war package or just tactical strikes? Let's start tactical. I want her to feel the leash tighten. First step was legal. I had Marcus draft a formal cease and desist letter for harassment, property damage, and unauthorized use. It was hand-delivered. Next, I got in touch with 3 other neighbors who had minor gripes with the HOA. Trash fines, mailbox color citations, you name it. They'd been silent, but now they were ready to speak. We formed our own mini-coalition. And at the next HOA meeting, we didn't go to talk. We went to vote. Turns out, under Oak Ridge Estate's bylaws, you can call for a special election if 30% of residents sign a petition. We had 40%. Karen didn't see it coming. While she was sending me another violation letter for improper umbrella tilt, we were filing for her removal as vice president. The night before the vote, I held a neighborhood BBQ, invited everyone. Burgers, cornhole, music. Guess who wasn't invited? Karen watched from her window. I gave a little speech. All we want is fairness, respect, and if you use my pool, at least bring margaritas. Laughter, applause, and most importantly, signatures. Election day? She was ousted by a landslide, replaced with a quiet older woman named Mrs. Lynn, who believed rules should actually apply to everyone. But I wasn't done. I upgraded my security system, motion sensors, silent alarms, even a smart gate lock that only opened to my phone and fingerprint. Then came the final touch. I had a new sign made. Sleek bronze HOA-approved font. Private pool. HOA membership does not apply. And just under it, a small camera icon with the words, smile. Karen, you're on camera. The next time she walked by, she paused, looked up. And just for a second, her smug mask cracked. That's when I knew the power had shifted after Karen was booted from her HOA throne. You'd think she'd lay low, but nope. One last attempt at sabotage. She filed a complaint with the city, claiming my pool fence violated safety regulations. What she didn't know, I had just redone the fencing. It met every code, and then some. So when the inspector arrived, clipboard in hand, he just nodded. Clean install. No violations here. I offered him a lemonade. He took 2. But here comes the real kicker, with her removal. The new HOA board did a full audit. Turns out Karen had been signing off on discretionary fines and pocketing reimbursements for administrative tasks. Yeah, that didn't go over well. She was fined, publicly, forced to pay back over. 3200's neighbors started avoiding her. Her open house events got canceled. Her own lawn grew wild because her usual landscaper, who I'd hired first, cut ties. And then the final blow, Karen tried to sell her house. But her reputation, it was shot. I heard one couple whisper during an open house tour. Isn't this the pool trespass lady? And me? I installed a new float, bright pink, flamingo-shaped, named it Karen. Every time I laid back with a drink and saw that bird, I smiled. Poetic, isn't it? As for the neighborhood, it returned to peace. Kids stayed in their yards. Trash bins got pulled in on time. Even the birds seemed to sing softer. Karen eventually moved, and me? I stayed. Poolside, calm, because justice doesn't always knock. Sometimes it floats. Looking back, I could have let it go. Could have chalked it up to a quirky neighbor and let the pool invasion slide. But here's the thing. Entitlement, when left unchecked, grows like a weed. And sometimes it takes a little sun, some cameras, and a pink flamingo to keep it in check. Karen thought her title, her connections, and her clipboard full of fines gave her power. But real power? That comes from community, from integrity, from standing your ground with grace, not aggression. And if you're ever faced with your own poolside Karen, just remember this: you don't need to shout to be heard. You don't need to fight to win. Sometimes all it takes is a camera, a coalition, and a well-placed barbecue. To everyone who's ever dealt with a petty HOA, a nosy neighbor, or an overstepping stranger, justice is a dish best served with a side of lawn chairs and lemonade. Now I want to hear from you. What would you have done if Karen trespassed in your pool? Comment below. And if you made it this far, comment "justice served" so I know you're part of the squad. Hit like if you enjoyed the ride. Subscribe if you believe in neighborly boundaries. And remember, float proudly and lock your gates. See you in the next story.